Welcome to my channel EV Story Vault. The Metaverse was supposed to be the future, but today only 900 people are actually using it. 900, the rest of the world. Missing out on a revolution that could change everything. Your money, your career, even your life. I'm about to reveal the shocking truth behind this billion-dollar dream, and why everyone who ignores it is already falling behind. Stay with me because what I'm about to show you will make you rethink the future before it leaves you behind. And you know, there was a time when we all thought the future would arrive like a lightning bolt. One moment we were staring at screens, clicking and scrolling, and the next someone told us that the internet was about to evolve into something bigger, something immersive. They called it the Metaverse, a place where distance didn't matter, where the lines between reality and imagination blurred, and where everyone could be anyone. The headlines were explosive. Tech giants were pouring billions into this vision. VR headsets became the symbol of a new era, a digital frontier we were told we absolutely needed to inhabit. And yet when you look closely, when you peel back the hype, the numbers tell a story that's almost laughable. The Metaverse in its supposed grandeur only has 900 users. 900. And I want you to think about that for a second. 900 people. For all the chatter, all the fancy launches, all the "this is the future" promises plastered across screens and social media, there are 900 people actually walking into that world every day. And it's not because it's inherently bad. The technology is incredible. You can create spaces, avatars, experiences that defy the rules of physics. You can hold a meeting in a floating boardroom above a digital city, or attend a concert in a stadium built entirely from imagination. It's breathtaking, almost magical. But here's the catch. The magic doesn't matter if no one is there to see it. And I remember the story of Tesla. In its earliest days, the company seemed almost invisible. Critics laughed, investors scoffed, people thought electric cars were a dream too far. But someone believed in the vision. They didn't just look at what was happening today. They imagined what could exist tomorrow. The difference between a vision and reality isn't the idea itself. It's execution, and more importantly, its adoption. You can have the most amazing technology in the world, but if nobody uses it, it's just a museum piece collecting dust while the world moves on. That's the situation the Metaverse finds itself in today. And now you might ask, why aren't people flocking to it? Why are there only 900 souls roaming these virtual streets, attending virtual concerts, building virtual cities? There are many reasons, and all of them boil down to one inconvenient truth. The Metaverse is trying to sell something that people don't feel they need yet. The hardware is expensive, the experience is clunky, and the learning curve is steep. You don't just pick it up and dive in. You suit up, you calibrate, you figure out how to navigate a world that's unfamiliar. And let's be honest, for most people, that's not appealing when the alternative is Netflix on a couch or a game on your phone. And it reminds me of the first time people saw electric cars. It wasn't just about the technology, it was about confidence. Could you rely on it? Could you trust it? Could you justify spending tens of thousands of dollars on a vehicle that seemed exotic, impractical, or even unnecessary? The Metaverse is Tesla in its infancy, a dream, a vision, a marvel. But the adoption rate is painfully low because the majority of people are still asking why. And yet there is beauty in those 900 users. They are the pioneers, the ones willing to explore when everyone else doubts. They are the people who suit up, who learn the controls, who experiment with digital real estate, who attend concerts in empty stadiums, because they believe in a future that hasn't arrived. They are not many, but they are crucial. Without them, this dream wouldn't even have a pulse. Without them, the Metaverse would be a ghost town, an ambitious project abandoned mid-flight. And when I think about that number, 900, it's almost poetic. It's not an indication of failure, not entirely. It's a reflection of the chasm between imagination and practicality, between hype and reality, between what we are sold as the inevitable future and what the world is actually ready to embrace. Because in truth, humans are slow to change. We love new ideas in theory, but we resist them in practice. The Metaverse isn't just technology, it's a paradigm shift, and paradigm shifts take time. Tesla didn't become a household name overnight. Its early adopters faced ridicule, skepticism, and doubt at every turn. Yet they persisted, and so will these 900 people, and what's fascinating is watching the parallel unfold. Tech companies invest, they hype, they create experiences designed to captivate millions. And yet the reality is far quieter. While the world debates whether the metaverse is dead or alive, these 900 users continue to log in. They explore, they create, they connect, and every time they do, they push the boundaries of what is possible. It's small, it's imperfect, and it's largely invisible, but it exists. And existence in the early stages of anything revolutionary is everything. And I can't help but think of the audacity it takes to be an early adopter in a world that is mostly indifferent. It's not just about logging into a digital space. It's about believing that this place, this network of code and imagination, will eventually become something more. That it will matter, that the hours, the learning, the effort, the money spent are all part of something larger. And in that sense, those 900 users are not small. They are giants in a desert. And because here's the truth that most people miss. History doesn't care about the masses at first. Tesla's first cars didn't sell to the millions. They were for the enthusiasts, the believers, the ones who could see beyond the present. The internet itself began as a network connecting a handful of universities. Today, it's a global necessity. The metaverse may be 900 users today, but 900 is better than zero. 900 is the seed. 900 is proof that the vision is alive, that there are people willing to carry it forward, that the idea hasn't been abandoned. And maybe that's the lesson in all of this. The world is often slow, painfully slow, to embrace the things that will ultimately define it. We are obsessed with numbers, with metrics, with instant adoption. But real change doesn't happen in the millions overnight. It happens in the handfuls, the dedicated few, the people who believe when no one else does. 900 users isn't a failure, it's the spark. And then when you look at those 900 users, you realize something else entirely. They aren't just numbers on a chart. They are pioneers in a world that most people won't even step into. Think about that for a moment. Every single one of those users is choosing to exist in a space that is not yet fully real, not yet fully polished, not yet fully relevant. They are betting on the potential, on the promise, on the idea that this virtual world will eventually become indispensable. That is courage in its purest form, courage in the face of skepticism, ridicule, and doubt. The same kind of courage that early Tesla adopters displayed when they invested in a car that barely fit on the road, that challenged every assumption about what vehicles should be, that questioned the very infrastructure of the industry itself. And because the truth is, revolutionary ideas are never greeted with applause. They are greeted with suspicion. They are tested in the crucible of public opinion, mocked by those who are too comfortable in their existing reality to even imagine an alternative. Those 900 people navigating the metaverse are the same kind of people who once invested in an electric car when gas engines dominated every street. They are visionaries, early believers, the few who are willing to embrace uncertainty because they can see the shape of things to come. And then you have to wonder, what do they see when they enter this digital frontier? They see cities that don't obey physics. They see stages that can rise and float in midair. They see themselves in avatars that can defy gravity, defy age, defy limitation. It is freedom distilled. It is possibility made manifest. And yet, despite all of that, most of the world watches from the sidelines, unconvinced, unconcerned, waiting for the next headline or the next viral sensation to tell them that it is safe, that it is necessary, that it is worth their time. And it is a strange phenomenon, the way humans relate to innovation. We are drawn to the promise of the future, yet terrified of it. We cheer on the idea of progress, but we resist its implementation. We dream of possibilities, yet we cling to our routines. The metaverse, in this sense, is a mirror. It reflects both the audacity of human imagination and the lethargy of human adoption. 900 people are walking that tightrope between vision and reality, between ambition and practicality, while billions sit on the sidelines debating whether the bridge is safe enough to cross. And yet you cannot underestimate the power of those 900. Small numbers have toppled empires, started revolutions, and redefined industries. It is a mistake to equate scale with significance. Tesla did not begin by selling thousands of cars. It began with a handful of believers who could see the potential beyond the conventional wisdom, beyond the noise, beyond the cynicism of the world. They invested not in the present, but in the future. And that is precisely what these early metaverse users are doing. And because here's another thing about being first, it is lonely, it is isolating. It is a strange existence to be part of something the world has yet to recognize. The early Tesla drivers faced skepticism everywhere. Friends laughed, critics mocked, and yet they persisted because they had a vision the world couldn't yet comprehend. The metaverse users are no different. They log in while the majority scrolls through social media indifferent. They attend concerts that are only half full, explore cities with empty streets, build worlds that most people will never visit. And still they persist because they can imagine what the world might become. And this idea of persistence, of dedication to a vision unseen, is a pattern repeated throughout history. It is how empires are built, how industries are disrupted, how society moves forward. The metaverse is not just a product. It is an experiment, a laboratory for the next stage of human interaction. And like any experiment, it is fragile in its early stages. The numbers are small, the adoption is slow, but that does not diminish the value of the experiment itself. In fact, it amplifies it because every action, every login, every creation matters more when the population is small. Every person has the potential to shape the landscape in ways that would be impossible once millions arrive. And it is worth thinking about the psychology of these 900 users. Why do they show up every day? What motivates them? Some are creators drawn by the opportunity to build without limits. Some are explorers fascinated by the novelty, the unpredictability, the sheer scale of what is possible. Some are social connectors finding in these virtual spaces a sense of community that eludes them in the physical world. And all of them are driven by one thing: belief. Belief that this is not just a game, not just an experiment, but the beginning of something transformative. And isn't that what innovation always requires? Not mass approval, not instant adoption, not guaranteed success. It requires belief. The Tesla story proves this. Early adopters weren't investing in perfection, they were investing in possibility. They weren't buying convenience, they were buying conviction. And in that conviction, they were reshaping an industry, redefining norms, rewriting the rules of what was considered possible. The metaverse in its infancy is in the same position. It is imperfect, it is incomplete, it is not fully realized, but it exists and it has believers. And I think about how easily the world judges by numbers, by metrics, by instant gratification. 900 users sounds small, it sounds insignificant. But significance is not always found in size. It is found in impact, in vision, in the courage to pursue something larger than oneself. Tesla's early adopters didn't ask how many others would join them. They acted because they understood the potential. And those 900 metaverse users are doing the same thing. They are staking their time, their creativity, their energy on a vision the rest of the world has yet to embrace. And this brings up a critical point about patience. The world wants results now. We measure success in months, in quarterly reports, in trending hashtags. But true innovation, the kind that reshapes industries, cultures, and human behavior, does not follow the calendar of the impatient. It grows slowly, it evolves quietly, it matures under the watchful eyes of the few who see what others cannot. The metaverse will not explode into mass adoption overnight, just as Tesla did not dominate the roads in its first year. Progress is iterative, gradual, and often invisible. And what strikes me most is the resilience required to exist in that space. To log in when few others do, to create experiences for a community that is tiny, to invest emotionally, financially, and mentally in something the world largely ignores. That is a remarkable act. It is a statement of faith, a declaration that the world is bigger than what is visible, that reality is not limited to what is tangible, that possibility is a force stronger than skepticism. The early adopters of the metaverse are not just users. They are explorers, architects, and believers carrying forward a vision when it would be easier to walk away. And then perhaps this is where we confront the hardest truth about innovation. The masses will often lag behind the visionaries. Tesla's critics scoffed, investors doubted, media mocked. But the people who mattered, most the believers, moved forward anyway. They were few, but their impact was enormous. The metaverse in its current form may have only 900 active users, but those 900 are laying the foundation for a future that could redefine how humans interact, how we work, how we play, how we connect. They are the seed, the spark, the proof that possibility exists, even when it is invisible to the majority. And every login, every creation, every connection in the metaverse is a statement. The future is not bound by the present. Just as early Tesla owners proved that electric cars could exist, that they could perform, that they could inspire, these 900 users are proving that virtual worlds can exist, that they can be meaningful, that they can evolve. They are patient, persistent, and visionary, carrying the weight of a dream the rest of the world has not yet seen. And the irony is that the metaverse doesn't need millions today to be significant. It needs engagement, it needs belief, it needs people willing to push the boundaries, to experiment, to fail, and to try again. The early Tesla adopters did not need everyone to approve of their cars. They only needed enough belief to keep moving forward. And that is exactly what these early users are providing. They are the lifeblood of a digital revolution, invisible but essential, small in number, but immense in potential. And in that there is a lesson that transcends technology. Real innovation, real progress, real transformation is rarely obvious. It is rarely popular, it is rarely instantaneous. It is painstaking, deliberate, and driven by the few who can see beyond the immediate, who can imagine what the world could become. 900 users in the metaverse are not a statistic, they are a testament. They are a testament to imagination, to courage, to the audacity of believing in what does not yet exist. And then the most fascinating part of all this isn't the technology. It isn't the virtual worlds, the avatars, the floating cities, or the infinite possibilities. The most fascinating part is the psychology, the mindset, the grit required to engage with something the world hasn't fully embraced. Those 900 people aren't just users. They are early believers, dreamers who refuse to let the present dictate the future. They log in day after day, not because it's convenient, not because it's easy, but because they can see the skeleton of a reality that could redefine human connection. And make no mistake, vision without action is nothing. You can imagine the metaverse in the abstract, you can marvel at its promise, but until someone boots up the headset, until someone interacts, until someone builds, it's all just theory. And that's why these early users are critical. They are the first threads woven into the fabric of a new world. They experiment, they fail, they rebuild, they iterate. And in the process, they teach the rest of us what is possible. Think about it. The internet itself didn't explode because it was perfect on day one. It grew because there were people willing to test it, to push it, to inhabit it when it was awkward, clunky, and incomplete. The same principle applies here. Those 900 people are the test, pilots, the pioneers, the ones who endure the growing pains, so that the world doesn't have to stumble blindly later. And then consider what it takes to be first. There is no guidebook, there is no map. Every action you take, every decision you make sets a precedent for what comes next. In Tesla's early days, the engineers, the drivers, the believers, they were inventing as they went. They faced obstacles that were unknown challenges, that had no precedent, skepticism from every angle. The people in the metaverse today are no different. They are the ones writing the rulebook, figuring out what works, what doesn't, what is engaging, what is meaningful, and what is worth abandoning. They are experimenting on a canvas that is infinite and yet lonely. And loneliness is a funny thing. It makes most people quit. Most people measure adoption by popularity. Most people want immediate validation. But those 900 users have internalized a different metric. Their measure of success is engagement, experimentation, creativity, and resilience. They do not rely on the masses to affirm their choices. They understand that the majority is always slow to catch on to what is radical. The early adopters of Tesla didn't wait for everyone to buy in. They led by example. And so do these metaverse users. And the irony is delicious. For all the hype, all the headlines, all the billion-dollar investments, the metaverse is essentially invisible to most people. It is a world existing in the shadow of expectation. Everyone is talking about it, everyone is predicting its future, everyone is imagining the billions of users it could have. And yet the reality is starkly different. 900 people. 900 users inhabiting this digital expanse, creating, exploring, and believing in a future that the world at large refuses to enter. It's humbling and sobering. It's also a reminder that hype and reality are rarely aligned. And in that misalignment is exactly where innovation thrives. If everyone understood it, everyone adopted it immediately, it wouldn't be revolutionary. Revolution, by definition, requires a gap between the present and the future, between the possible, and the accepted between imagination and reality. Those 900 people occupy that gap. They exist in the tension in the space between what the world thinks is achievable and what they know is possible. And tension is where creation is born, and I think about what it must feel like to be one of them. Logging in while the rest of the world scrolls past TikTok and Instagram, stepping into a universe that is half-built, half-empty, full of potential but lacking scale. It takes courage, it takes focus. It takes a willingness to be uncomfortable to persist in an environment where your actions are invisible to almost everyone. And that willingness is exactly what Tesla's earliest believers had. They embraced discomfort, risk, uncertainty, and the unknown. They acted despite fear. They invested despite doubt, and the results changed everything. And that is perhaps the single most important lesson from the metaverse story. Vision alone is not enough. Technology alone is not enough. Money alone is not enough. It is the combination of vision, action, and resilience in the face of adversity that determines whether something revolutionary survives or dies before it has a chance. Those 900 users are embodying that principle. They are not waiting for validation, for mainstream adoption, or for easy wins. They are showing up, they are creating, they are testing the limits of a digital frontier. And in doing so, they are laying the foundation for something larger than themselves. And it is also a lesson in patience. The world does not move at the pace of visionaries. It moves at the pace of the cautious, the comfortable, the risk-averse. Tesla's early investors had to endure years of skepticism, years of financial uncertainty, years of criticism, before the value of the innovation became undeniable. The metaverse will be no different. The 900 users are the patient ones, enduring what the majority is unwilling to endure, trusting in a future that has not yet arrived, believing in a vision that the world largely ignores. And this patience is intertwined with persistence. 900 users may seem small in a world obsessed with metrics, trending numbers, and virality. But persistence is often invisible, and its impact is delayed. The early Tesla adopters didn't change the world overnight. They moved the needle incrementally, quietly, relentlessly. And that is what these early metaverse users are doing. Every login, every creation, every interaction is a micro-step towards something far larger. The world may not notice, but the impact compounds over time. And then consider the implications of scale. 900 users may sound like a trivial number now, but those 900 have outsized influence. In a small ecosystem, each participant shapes the environment. Each decision has amplified consequences. The creative output of a handful of committed pioneers can define the norms, expectations, and culture of an entire emerging industry. Tesla's early adopters didn't need thousands. They needed the right people, the right visionaries, the ones willing to push boundaries and endure early hardships. The metaverse operates under the same principle. The few can set the tone for the many, shaping the architecture, the behaviors, the possibilities of the entire system before mass adoption even begins. And what is perhaps most fascinating is the courage required to invest emotionally, intellectually, and financially in something so nascent. It is easy to believe in an idea when it is fully formed, fully funded, and fully accepted. It is another thing entirely to believe when there is doubt on every side. Tesla's earliest investors, engineers, and drivers believed in something that did not yet exist in the minds of the majority. They invested in potential, in possibility, in a dream. And these 900 users of the metaverse are doing the exact same thing. They are investing time, energy, and imagination in a digital world that the broader society largely ignores, because they see the promise beyond the immediate, beyond the clunky interfaces, beyond the small numbers. And isn't that the hallmark of all meaningful change? Those who endure when the majority resists, those who act when most wait, those who believe when most doubt. 900 users may not seem like a revolution to the casual observer, but they embody the essential elements of one: vision, courage, persistence, and imagination. The metaverse may be tiny now, imperfect now, and incomplete, but in those early adopters, it has life, motion, and the possibility of greatness. And in the quiet persistence of those 900, there is a lesson for anyone chasing the edge of innovation. Don't wait for the world to validate your vision. Don't chase mass adoption before the foundations are built. Don't measure potential by immediate scale. The early days are messy, imperfect, lonely, and uncertain. But they are necessary. They are the crucible in which revolutionary ideas are forged. Tesla's early believers endured ridicule, financial uncertainty, and skepticism. They kept moving, they kept building, they kept believing. The metaverse's 900 are doing the same, and the lesson extends beyond technology. It applies to creativity, to leadership, to entrepreneurship, to any act of building something new in the face of doubt. The world rewards the persistent, the patient, and the visionary, not the cautious, the impatient, or the indifferent. 900 users may seem small, but they carry the weight of a vision that could reshape human connection, entertainment, commerce, and community. They are not insignificant. They are monumental, invisible though they may be. And then finally, there is hope in those 900. Hope that innovation can thrive even when adoption is slow. Hope that vision can exist even when the world is indifferent. Hope that a new paradigm can be constructed by the few before it is recognized by the many. Tesla's earliest successes did not come from mass approval. They came from belief, dedication, and relentless experimentation. The metaverse in its current infancy operates on the same principles. And the more I think about those 900 users, the more I realize that what they are doing is radical, even revolutionary. Because they are not just interacting with a technology, they are redefining what it means to experience existence in a digital form. They are testing the boundaries of human imagination. They are asking questions that most people don't even think to ask. What is reality when it is virtual? What is community when it is built from code? What is value when it is digital? And most importantly, what is possibility when the majority of the world hasn't even shown up yet? And in Tesla's early days, people asked similar questions. Could an electric car be more than a novelty? Could it perform like a gas engine? Could it be practical? Could it change an entire industry? Critics said no. They scoffed at the technology, dismissed the idea, and laughed at the believers. But the believers, the few willing to risk ridicule, money, and reputation, pressed on. They weren't interested in comfort or validation. They were interested in potential. And that same potential drives the metaverse today. Those 900 users are willing to risk being early, being misunderstood, being invisible to the world. They are willing to risk failure because they can see what most people cannot. And what is remarkable is that in that small number, in that tiny ecosystem, there is experimentation at a scale that is impossible to achieve in a mass environment. Every decision, every creation, every interaction matters more because the population is small. Every user has influence. Every avatar, every building, every connection can ripple across the system in a way that would be impossible if there were millions of users. It's a reminder that in the early stages of innovation, scale is less important than engagement, creativity, and persistence. Tesla's earliest engineers and drivers didn't have the mass market. They had influence, dedication, and the ability to experiment in a controlled environment. And those 900 users have the same opportunity today. And then let's not underestimate the courage it takes to exist in a space that is incomplete. The metaverse is not perfect. The interfaces are clunky. The environments are often empty. The hardware is expensive. The learning curve is steep. And yet these 900 users log in, they interact, they create. They endure friction that would stop most people cold. That kind of courage, that kind of commitment is rare. It is the hallmark of true pioneers. It is what separates those who merely dream from those who change the world. And the irony is that most people will never understand this. They will look at the number 900 and scoff. They will see failure where there is only potential. They will see absence where there is persistence. But those 900 understand something essential. Early adoption is never about validation. It is about vision, action, and the willingness to endure uncertainty. Tesla's earliest believers did not wait for everyone to buy in. They acted. They created, they persevered, and the 900 users of the metaverse are doing the same. And in doing so, they are writing the story of the future. They are experimenting with forms of communication, commerce, entertainment, and creativity that the rest of the world has not yet imagined. They are defining the norms, the behaviors, the possibilities for the generations that will follow. The metaverse may appear empty to outsiders, but it is alive to those who inhabit it. And that life, that energy, is the engine of transformation. Tesla's early success came from a similar energy, a community of believers willing to experiment, iterate, and endure. The metaverse has the same spark, and consider the power of imagination in this context. Imagination is not idle daydreaming. It is the ability to see beyond the present, to envision possibilities that do not yet exist, to act in ways that defy conventional wisdom. The 900 users are imagining worlds that do not yet exist, and in doing so they are making them real. They are designing experiences, shaping environments, creating interactions that will define the digital landscape for years to come. And in this act of creation, they are demonstrating a principle that has guided every major technological leap. Those who imagine first, act first, and endure first shape the world. And this is where patience becomes critical. The majority of the world wants instant results. We live in a culture of immediacy, of virality, of trending numbers. But the truth is that real transformation takes time. Tesla did not become a global powerhouse overnight. Its early believers endured years of uncertainty, criticism, and skepticism before their vision became undeniable. The metaverse is in that same stage. 900 users may seem insignificant now, but they are planting the seeds. They are nurturing the potential. They are laying the groundwork for a future that will eventually be recognized as inevitable. And the lesson extends beyond technology. It applies to anyone who seeks to create something meaningful in a world that is slow to embrace change. The masses may resist, the critics may mock, the immediate rewards may be absent. But the act of creation, of persistence, of belief, is what transforms potential into reality. Tesla's earliest believers did not wait for approval, they acted. And those 900 users are doing the same. They are showing up, experimenting, enduring, and persevering in a space that most people ignore. And in that they are writing the rules, defining the culture, and shaping the future in ways that are invisible to the casual observer but monumental in impact. And in that small number lies a profound truth about human progress. Innovation is rarely recognized at first. Adoption is rarely immediate. Change is rarely welcomed. The people who matter most, the ones who define the trajectory of new ideas, are often few, invisible, and misunderstood. Tesla's first adopters were a minority. They were questioned, doubted, and ridiculed. And yet they persisted. The metaverse's early users are no different. 900 may sound small, but within those 900 exists the potential to influence, create, and inspire at a scale that far exceeds their numbers. And the patience required cannot be overstated. The world will not rush to validate their efforts. The technology is not ready for mass adoption. The culture has not caught up. And yet they persist. They log and they explore, they build, they create. They test the boundaries of possibility, while most of the world waits for proof. Tesla's early success was built on the same principle. Perseverance in the face of skepticism, belief in the unseen action, without immediate validation. And those 900 users embody that principle today. And there is power in being early. Early adopters have influence far beyond their numbers. Every action, every creation, every interaction sets a precedent. Every experiment informs the next. Every failure teaches lessons that the next wave will benefit from. Tesla's early believers were shaping an industry before it recognized the value of their work. The metaverse's early users are doing the same. They are experimenting in real time, creating patterns, discovering possibilities, and building the foundations of a world that does not yet exist in the minds of most. And that is where vision intersects with courage. Vision alone is insufficient. Courage alone is insufficient. It is the combination of vision, action, and resilience in the face of doubt that drives transformation. Those 900 users are not simply consuming content. They are shaping culture, creating experiences, and exploring uncharted territory. They are building the invisible scaffolding upon which future users will arrive. Tesla's early believers did not wait for perfection. They acted on potential. And those 900 users are doing the same in the metaverse. And there is an intensity in being first. To operate in a space that is incomplete, underdeveloped, and largely ignored requires focused dedication and the willingness to endure discomfort. It is a crucible that tests imagination, patience, and determination. Tesla's first drivers and engineers faced similar challenges. They worked with prototypes, navigated skepticism, and persevered through obstacles that had no precedent. The early metaverse users are facing a digital version of that same crucible. Every login, every creation, every connection is an act of persistence, a statement of belief, and a step toward building a future that the world has not yet imagined. And then the fascinating part is that this small group, these 900 users, are not just participants. They are architects of possibility. They are exploring what works, what doesn't, what captivates, and what connects. They are discovering the language of interaction, the norms of digital society, and the forms of engagement that will define the next stage of human experience. Tesla's early adopters were doing the same in the physical world, discovering, experimenting, and proving the viability of electric vehicles when the majority of society doubted. The parallel is uncanny and it is instructive, and perhaps the most important insight of all is this. Significance is not determined by numbers. It is determined by vision, persistence, and action. 900 users may sound insignificant in a world obsessed with scale, but within that small ecosystem exists the potential to redefine what is possible, to shape culture, to influence behavior, and to establish patterns that will endure long after mass adoption occurs. Tesla's early believers understood this. They acted on belief rather than popularity. The metaverse's early users are doing the same. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.